katotohan po yan. Let's look at the impeachment proceeding as it is. This is my position on the matter. Make no mistake, any impeachment proceeding that reaches, or any impeachment proceeding that is initiated in the House is always political. It is a political process. Why? Because it comes from a political institution, the House of Representatives. So doon pa lang, klarong-klaro na politika ang proseso na sinusunod ng House.
Nasa linya po ng ating komunikasyon ngayong umaga si Attorney Martin Delgado III, Attorney via Zoom. Magandang umaga po at welcome po muli dito sa program Pulso ng Bayan ng SMNI. Jade at Admar po ang inyong mga kasama. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Magandang umaga po at magandang umaga Jade at Admar at sa inyong mga tagapakinig at mga tagapanood.
Opo, Attorney, kahapon kabilang po kayo sa mga petitioners sa inihain po ninyong petisyon sa Supreme Court. Kaugnay nga po dito sa impeachment trial ng VP Sara Duterte. Ano ho ito at ano pong pangunahing dahilan kung bakit po ninyo ito inihain laban nga po dito sa presiding officer, itinalagang presiding officer na si Senator Cheese Escudero?
Opo, just to give you context, nung inihain na po yung pangalawang impeachment complaint sa House of Representatives, a group of petitioners, including me, Attorney Bob Victorion, and the rest, have filed a petition for certiorari sa Supreme Court questioning the second impeachment complaint. So, andyan na po yan sa Supreme Court. And then what happened during the first day was quite unusual to say the least. Kasi meron po kayong dalawang presiding officer, pero iisa ang gavel. Yung gavel is not just a decorative item then, ano. The gavel on the rostrum is actually a symbol of authority. Kaya pag magro-ruling yung presiding officer po, binabang yung gavel to say that the authority has, the judgment or the order has already been issued and therefore it should be respected. And yet we see two people, or specifically two senator judges presiding over the trial. That makes it very unusual to say the least, and obviously violative of the Constitution. Kasi paulit-ulit nating sinasabi, and I think it has been more than amplified by the manifestation and argument raised by Senator Peter Alan Cayetano, na yung pagiging presiding officer ng isang senator judge na hindi Senate President ay labag po sa Constitution. It should be the Senate President who should preside over an impeachment trial of impeachable officers except the President. Kasi alam natin, klarong-klaro sa Constitution, na pag ang Presidente is on trial, it is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court who presides over the impeachment proceeding. But in all other impeachment trial covering all impeachable officer, it is the Senate President. Kaya kino-question, rightly so, kino-question ni Senator Peter Alan Cayetano na yung ano na yan, yung pagtatalaga kay Senator Escudero ay questionable kasi hindi sang-ayon sa Constitution.
Opo. Attorney, ano ho yung para sa kaalaman lang po ng ating mga kababayan, ano hong partikular pong probisyon ng ating saligang batas o sa ating konstitusyon ang nilabag po ni, sa tingin po ninyo, nilabag po ang, dito sa pagpili nga kay Senator Cheese Escudero bilang presiding officer ng Senate Impeachment Court?
And the provision of accountability, if I'm not mistaken, Article 12 of our Constitution, na klarong-klaro doon na pag merong impeachment complaint that is being heard before the Senate, it should be the Senate President who should preside over impeachment complaints covering all impeachable officers below the President. At napatunayan naman din na kasi yung Constitution na ipandayan, if I may, in the proceedings of the what you call the Constitutional Commission at the time. And klarong-klaro doon sa exchange ni Commissioner Davide and Commissioner Monsod na pag hindi po presidente on trial, sino po ang magpipreside. So in that particular exchange, naiklaro po na the one who is supposed to preside is the Senate President.
Opo, pero anong masasabi po ninyo doon sa mga argumento naman ng ilang mga senador dahil po yung sinabi po ninyo ay yun po mismo ang pinagdebatehan bago po sila pumili ng presiding officer sa halip nga na itong si Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian ang mamuno sa Senate Impeachment Court.
That's good that you raised that point. Ano? Even the manner by which they change the rules on impeachment sa Senado, questionable din. Kasi nga, sang-ayon ako sa obserbasyon at klarong-klaro naman doon sa balita, nung June 3 na Senate session, wala po silang quorum. So kung wala kayong quorum, how can you convene a session in the Senate? So doon pa lang, questionable na. Pangalawa, it's a matter of procedure, according to Senator Cayetano, na when there is a motion that is supposed to be put on the table to be debated upon and voted by the members, it should be filed a day before. And there was none that was filed a day before. The motion to change the rules of the impeachment rules. So, yun, pangalawang rason naman na talagang questionable yung pag-iiba ng klarong-klaro sa saligang batas na it's supposed to be the Senate President who will preside over impeachment complaints covering all impeachable officers below the President.
Opo, meron pang mga naratibo, attorney, yung mga argumento po na tahimik daw, hindi malinaw, ang nakasaad sa ating batas na hindi naman nakalagay specifically na dapat Senate President lang yung magiging presiding officer.
Meron po tayong tinatawag na pag hindi po malinaw yung batas, babalikan natin yung deliberation kung paano pinanday yung batas. So in the case of the Constitution, sinabi ko nga kanina, balikan natin yung deliberation ng Constitutional Commission, yung itinilaga ni dating Pangulong Cory Aquino para magpanday ng bagong konstitusyon after she assumed office in 1986. And that's precisely the point that was raised by Senator Cayetano, na during the exchange, si Commissioner Davide then would have wanted to make it very clear na pag in all other cases other than the President on trial in impeachment, kailangan yung Senate President ang mumumuno, ang presiding officer in that sense, no? Pero naiklaro na ni Commissioner Monsod na yun po ang ibig sabihin dyan. Ibig sabihin na pag hindi po yung presidente is the one on trial, then it should be the Senate President who is going to preside. Klarong-klaro po sa exchange in the deliberation of the Constitutional Commission na nagpanday ng ating Constitution.
Opo.
So no doubt about the intent of the Constitution in this particular case, in all impeachment complaints covering all impeachable officers below the President, that includes the Vice President, down below, it would be the Senate President who should preside. Why is that important? That is important kasi yung presiding officer po, siya yung nagmamando ng proceeding ng impeachment. And that is a very important role to play. He sets the order of the proceeding. He rules on matters that are raised by the parties, both by the complainant and the respondent. No? Yung senator judges are there if there is a motion or if there is a point by which a senator judge may raise to make a formal vote. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang po yung presiding officer ang magde-decide on a point of procedure or perhaps a point of substance, say for example, admissibility of evidence, ilalagay sa botohan ng mga senator judges. Otherwise, it's the presiding officer who will rule on matters that are raised in the course of the proceeding. So very important po yung papel na ginagampanan ng presiding officer sa isang impeachment trial.
Opo, ang sagot naman po ni Senator Judge Tito Soto doon po sa inyo pong sinabi tungkol sa mga framers, yung minutes daw ng Constitutional Commission ay reference source lamang.
Ano po? Hindi ko nakuha.
Reference source, parang reference lang. Baga, sa tingin ho ba ninyo, mababa yung tingin po niya doon sa mga framers at baga wala po siyang puwersa na maidudulot o epekto doon po sa pinag-uusapan po nila ngayon?
I beg to disagree. Kasi yung pagpanday po ng Constitution na yan, yung ugat ng lahat ng provision ng Constitution nanggagaling po sa deliberation ng Constitutional Commission. So hindi po natin babaliwalain yung mga nangyari po para ipanday, isaayos at yung Constitution that we now have. That's precisely why even in cases that reach the Supreme Court would make reference to. Ibig sabihin, babalikan nila paano pala nangyari yung pagpanday ng isang batas or in this case the Constitution. They would always refer to the minutes of the deliberation before when a law was passed in Congress, or in this case the minutes of deliberation of the Constitutional Commission. So that's a very important pieces of material by which we would be able to draw conclusion kano talaga ang sinasabi ng Constitution.
Opo. Meron pa pong isang argumento na itong impeachment, Senate Impeachment Court ay sui generis o hineres ba o nabubukod tangi dahil siyempre wala daw makukulong, wala namang civilly liable dito sa impeachment court na ito. Kaya maari po yung mga senator judges ay magsagawa o magbago o mag-amend po ng kanilang mga patakaran sa kanilang kakayahan bilang mga senator judges kung sino po may pinakamaraming boto, ayun po yung masusunod. Ano pong tingin po ninyo diyan?
Pagsabotohan po yan. Let's look at the impeachment proceeding as it is. This is my position on the matter. Make no mistake, any impeachment proceeding that reaches, or any impeachment proceeding that is initiated in the House is always political. It is a political process. Why? Because it comes from a political institution, the House of Representatives. So doon pa lang, klarong-klaro na politika ang proseso na sinusunod ng House. Obviously, they try to justify that it is also a legal and constitutional duty on their part. And that's a clear fact as well. Pero make no mistake, yung initiation po ng complaint, ng impeachment complaint, lalong-lalo na against an elective official, and I like to make this clear, elective official, hindi po kagaya ng dating maestrado ng Supreme Court or appointed official. Elected official ito in the case of BP Sara, it becomes even more political in character yung pag-initiate ng impeachment sa House of Representatives. Now, they try to justify. Ibig sabihin, whatever is the political setup or agenda of the House of Representatives, they will push it. And how they will push it will now be justified by whatever na nakuha nila na ebidensya. By the way, yung nakuha nila na ebidensya, lumabag pa doon sa rules nila sa House. Kasi nga, insofar as the initiation of the complaint in the House, whatever evidence you may have in the House would only be limited to what was brought before them by the complainant of the impeachment complaints. If you recall, there were originally there were 4 impeachment complaints. Tinanggal nila yung 2 at 2 na lang naiwan. So whatever the House Justice Committee would have discussed is only limited to the four square of the impeachment complaint that was brought before them. Eh, nag-conduct pa sila ng mini trial, nagkuha pa sila ng ibang ebidensya. Obviously, that would be unfair to the respondent. And more importantly, because this is a political process, ang tinatamaan dito hindi lang po, especially in the case of BP Sara, ang tinatamaan dito hindi lang po si BP Sara. Ang tinatamaan dito, yung bumoto sa kanya, the 32 million voters who wanted her to stay as Vice President until the end of her term. So yun po ang klaro dyan. Now, bringing the case to the Senate, as you have said, and now it becomes, you know, hindi mo mawawala yung political character ng prosesong ito. But nevertheless, makikita mo sa araw-araw na paglilitis yung tinatawag na legal at constitutional mechanism on trying to address accountability of the one on trial. So, yun po ang nakikita natin dyan. Pero sa likod nito na nakikita natin dito, huwag nating kalimutan kung ano yung pakay. What is the objective of all this? Is to remove the Vice President, not to convict. Actually, the word that they use is convict. But actually what it means is just to remove her from office. The common reference of conviction is may kaakibat na penalty, like you have to serve sentence in prison, so to speak, no? Pero eto wala. The only objective here is to remove her from her elective office, and that will disenfranchise 32 million Filipino voters. So yun po ang klaro dito.
Opo. Attorney, habang nagpapatuloy o habang kini-question po ninyo itong legalidad nga ng pagpili sa presiding officer, ano yung magiging epekto naman po nitong inyong petisyon?
I don't want to get into the merits of it kasi we have filed a supplemental manifestation and motion arising from this very recent event of the first day on trial na iba yung presiding officer. So we leave that to the Supreme Court to address the matter.
Opo, opo. Bago ko lang ipasok kay Partner Admar, basta ang pinakalayunin lang din po ninyo ay pansamantala po munang ipatigil itong ginagawang impeachment proceedings doon po sa inyong petisyon.
Among others po. Among others, that is what we're trying to seek remedy from the Supreme Court.
Attorney, mayong buntag si Admar po ito. Noong day 1 po, mismo ang presiding officer na si Senator Chis Escudero ang nagbigay linaw na tungkol doon sa threshold, no? And kahapon, muli siyang tinanong kung yun ba ay opinion lang or magiging ano na, kumbaga parang magiging ruling na ng impeachment trial at kinonfirm nga ito ng presiding officer. So, wala na tayong dapat pag-usapan pa sa threshold at hindi na ito mababago or pwede pa ito mababago sa pag-usad ng impeachment trial, attorney, sa kanila mismo dyan sa impeachment court?
On that score, Admar, I give credit to Senator Chis Escudero sa paglilinaw na ginawa niya. Paglilinaw. Pero sa ating mga abogado, hindi na kailangan no need to clarify further kasi klarong-klaro naman din sa Constitution na yung threshold is always 16 or 2/3 of the members of the Senate. And by precedence, no, sa lahat ng mga impeachment trials in the past, ganun naman din talaga yung threshold. So ang tanong ngayon, kung pinaghihiritan na ibababa mo yung threshold, bakit? May precedence na. In all lahat, from panahon ng dating Pangulong Estrada, ni Chief Justice Corona, lahat. So ibig sabihin, why would you change the rules now? Because they have been very faithful to the provision of the Constitution in the past. So there is only one obvious reason para medyo madali na ang paghahatol ng conviction laban kay VP Sara. I hope they will not tinker with that again. Pinaghihiritan, mahirap na paghihiritan kasi we are now again violating the Constitution insofar as that point of the threshold vote for conviction is concerned, or acquittal for that matter.
Opo, nabanggit mo si Vice President Sara Duterte. Ano naman po yung inyo pong magiging opinion ukol nga po doon sa kanyang maikli pero malaman na pahayag na hinungot niya sa Invictus, "In this bloodbath and bludgeoning, I will be blooded but unbowed." Maraming salamat, Attorney.
I fully agree with that. Maintindihan ko yung VP Presidente. Alam naman din natin sa karamihan, we have been following this episode in her life. I'm referring to the impeachment against her. Talagang binubugbog siya. At pag tinatanong siya, maikli lang ang sinasabi niya. Kung pwede nga lang, hindi na siya sasagot eh. So if you would try to look at, kayo na nasa media, from last year until now, ilang beses ba lumalabas yung House Prosecutor o yung House of Representatives para bugbugin yung Vice Presidente sa harap ng publiko, sa harap ng media? I-compare mo yung katiting na mga instances ng Vice Presidente na lumabas sa media, sa publiko, na magkomento sa kanyang kaso. Malayong malayo po. Kaya I fully agree na talagang binubugbog siya. Pero knowing her character, she will be unbowed till the end.
Opo, at matapos nga po ito ay na nagkaroon ng pagnanais ang prosekusyon or paglilinaw kung magiging witness ba or magiging hostile witness ba or maaari bang maipatawag. Nagkaroon siya ng paglilinaw po doon sa impeachment court. Sa tingin niyo po, mauobliga ba ng kung halimbawa sinasabi naman na meron siyang mga legal doon, yung nasa depensa niya, mauobliga ba ng impeachment court na mapatawag ang sinasakdal po, Attorney?
Depende po yan sa impeachment court. If they find the need to give given the need based on the reasoning of the argument of the prosecution asking her to be a hostile witness. Pero iisa lang yung nakikita. Merong pumasok sa isip sa ngayon. Bakit mo ipapatawag yung inaakusa mo titistigo para sa iyo? Napaisip lang ako, kulang ba yung ebidensya nila? Insofar as the evidence that they're trying to present before the impeachment court, na kailangan nilang ipapatawag yung inaakusa nila para titistigo para sa kanila. And you don't expect the respondent, even if she will be called as a hostile witness, you don't expect her
Opo.
to testify against of the prosecution who called a hostile witness. So, napapatanong lang ako why the prosecutor or the prosecution would call on her to be a hostile witness. Kaya napaisip lang ko, kulang ba yung ebidensya nila?
Opo. Doon naman po sa naging desisyon ng impeachment court, ukol naman po doon sa motion ng depensa na i-exclude ito pong kanilang witness na si Agent Calilong ng NBI. Hindi sila pinagbigyan, citing doon sa naging desisyon ng Korte Suprema ukol kay Enrile versus Sandigan Bayan. Kasi kine-question kasi ng depensa na itong witness nila ay hindi naman nakakasama doon sa articles of impeachment na inihain doon sa Kamara, Attorney. Yes, Attorney Martin. Balikan lang natin maya-maya si Attorney Martin Delgra. I-establish lang natin ang ating signal sa kanya.
Samantala, sa day 2 naman po ng impeachment trial ni VP Sara Duterte, hiniling po ng prosecution panel na padaluhin sa impeachment court si VP Sara bilang hostile witness para sa Article 4 na tumutukoy sa umano'y mga pagbabanta ng Vice Presidente. Narito ang balita ni Angel Pastor.
Eksaktong alas 2 nag-umpisa ang Day 2 ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. 21 senator judges ang present sa ikalawang paglilitis. Sumentro ang Day 2 ng trial sa Article 4 ng Articles of Impeachment na tumutukoy sa mga pagbabanta umano ng Vice Presidente laban kay Pangulong Marcos Jr., kay First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos at dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Sa ikalawang araw ng impeachment trial, sinimulan ng prosekusyon ang pagpresenta ng kanilang unang testigo mula sa NBI Cyber Investigation and Assessment Center na si John Mark Calilong. Pero bago pa man humarap itong nasabing testigo, ay nagpahayag na ang House Prosecution Panel ng kanilang pagnanais na ipatawag si VP Sara bilang hostile witness dito sa Article 4 ng Articles of Impeachment. Matapos nga ito ng mabilis na pagbisita ni VP Sara sa Senado nitong Martes para makipagpulong sa kanyang defense team.
One of the key witnesses, hostile, albeit hostile, would be the Vice President. And therefore, if we can inquire if it is her intention to again appear in the premises of the Senate, because we are already respectfully informing this honorable court that we will manifest, that we will have a written request for her presence in connection with this article on grave threats, Your Honor. That is the relevancy of my manifestation.
Pero binigyang diin ng presiding officer na bagaman handa silang tugunan ang musyon ng prosekusyon ay hindi nire-required si VP Sara na dumalo sa impeachment trial.
The impeachment rules do not mandate nor require the respondent to attend any hearing or trial of the impeachment court. Whether she was in the building earlier or arrived after, it is totally up to the respondent because from the point of view of the court, she is represented in this court through her counsel already.
Sa unang ipresentang testigo, mariing tinutulan ng defense panel ang iniharap na NBI agent na si Calilong dahil walaan niya ito sa Articles of Impeachment laban sa bise.
Your Honor, may we move for the exclusion of Agent Calilong for being not previously attached to the Saballa and Cabrera complaints, as well as exclusion on the ground that he was not included in the articles of impeachment transmitted to the Senate Impeachment Court.
Hindi naman pinabura ng impeachment court ang nasabing musyon ng depensa. Nauna nang itinanggi ng kampo ni VP Sara ang mga alegasyon. Ayon sa kanyang mga abogado, ginagamit lamang ng Vice Presidente ang kanyang karapatan sa malayang pananalita na ginagarantiyahan ng konstitusyon. Iginit din ng depensa na walang sapat na ebidensya na nagpapatunay na kumuha si VP Sara ng isang assassin o hitman upang gawin ang nasabing mga akusasyon. Samantala, tinanong naman ni Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo ang testigong si NBI agent Calilong tungkol sa mga notes na paulit-ulit niyang binabasa habang nagbibigay ng testimonya at kung isinumiti ba ang mga ito bilang ebidensya sa impeachment court.
The witness here, for the record, mentioned that he was referring to notes. Kanina pa po ito. Could he please clarify what specific notes he was referring to? Who prepared those notes? When were they prepared? And were they made before, during, or after the events he have testified about? And also, these notes, nabigyan po ba ang defense ng copy ito? Was this submitted as part of the evidence also, Mr. Presiding Officer? Additionally, the question is, was he relying on these notes to refresh his recollection while giving his testimony today?
Ipinaliwanag naman ni Calilong na siya mismo ang gumawa ng mga naturang notes habang isinasagawa ang investigasyon. Anya, isinama na rin ang mga nilalaman ng mga ito sa kanyang sinumpaang salaysay o affidavit. Gayunman, nilinaw niyang hindi mismo ang mga notes ang isinumiti niya bilang ebidensya. Tutol naman ang kampo ng defense panel sa mga paliwanag ng prosekusyon hinggil sa kanilang testigo. Ayon sa kanila, tila ang prosekusyon na mismo ang sumasagot para rito. Ibinasura naman ng impeachment court ang musyon ng depensa at pinayagang manatili sa record ang paliwanag ng prosekusyon bilang tugon sa tanong ni Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo. Samantala, humiling naman ang House Prosecution Panel sa Senate Impeachment Court na ipatawag bilang mga testigo sina OVP Chief of Staff Zulieca Lopez at NBI Director Melvin Matibag sa impeachment trial ni VP Sara. Hiniling ng prosekusyon ang pagpapalabas ng subpoena ad testificandum upang mapaharap at makapagbigay ng testimonya sina Lopez at Matibag sa pagdinig. Pasado alas 6 nag-adjourn ang day 2 ng trial at magpapatuloy sa Miyerkules, July 8 alas 2 ng hapon. Mula dito sa Senado para sa Diyos at Pilipinas, kong mahal Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
Samantala, balikan natin si Attorney Martin Delgra. Attorney?
Yes, good morning. Pasensya na, napuputol sa signal.
Opo, okay lang po. Dito po sa kahapon man, may motion po ang depensa na exclude itong testimonya nitong kanilang unang inipresentang agent na si Kalilong. Pero dinenied ito ng presiding officer citing the case of Inrayli versus Sandigan Bayan po. Kasi ang motion nila, hindi po daw kasali itong doon sa articles of impeachment na unang inihain po, no? Itong si Kalilong po, attorney. Ano po masasabi niyo rito?
I'd like to take a step back. If you look at the trial now, it emanated from the House. And if you look at it similar to what is happening in our rules of court, ito po ay tinatawag nating preliminary investigation. There's been a lot of discussion on this one when the case was still with the House Justice Committee. So, ibig sabihin, kung anong na-file at ipresenta ng complainant, yun lang po yung ebidensya na pwede mong dadalhin sa korte for that matter. So, kung totoo man na wala si Kalilong doon sa Justice House Committee, when they were still deliberating on the basis of the evidence that were brought before the House Justice Committee, tama lang na you would object to this evidence that are now brought before the impeachment court. Kasi nga wala doon, they did not present it during the committee hearing in the House of Representatives. But that being the case, the final arbiter as to whether a piece of evidence may be presented, not necessarily admitted in evidence, but presented para susuriin ng senator judges, nasa impeachment court po yan to decide.
Opo. Attorney, dito naman po sa naging sentro din ng debate kung ipi-play o hindi ipi-play ang buo pong video ng nangyaring media conference kung saan doon hinugot yung mga sinasabing pagbabanta ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Kung kayo po, needed pa ba na i-play itong 2 oras na ito para makita yung konteksto kung bakit nabigkas, nabanggit yun ng pangalawang Pangulo?
Alam mo, sinabi na ng both parties, the defense and the prosecution, and even some of the senator judges who made their manifestation in the first 2 days of trial. The trial is not just before the impeachment court, but also before the court of public opinion. Kaya mapaisip ka kung bakit pa yung prosecution gusto nilang ipalabas. Yung mismong, hindi lang ipalabas, you have to play it out in public for many who are watching this impeachment proceeding na makita na naman muli yung nangyari. So, yung pakay, if I may, the aim of the prosecution to bring it out again na it's I like to put it in context again, Yung nangyari kasi when she was there at the house, talagang ginigipit sa doon. Kung sino yung tao na ginigipit, talagang I would not be surprised na would probably act the same way. Pero pag uulitin mo yan sa publiko, iba na yung objective as to why you're doing it. Kasi pag sasabihin nila, hindi, kailangan namin ipresenta in evidence. Meron pong tinatawag nating stipulations. So the parties can actually stipulate, okay, may sinabi siya, okay, may video. So, okay, we can stipulate and let's move on to another piece of evidence. But the reason why they need to put it out in public, all across all forms of media, is talagang papahiyain ang VP Presidente patungkol dyan. But as to whether it has probative value in evidence for the impeachment court to consider, I doubt very much. Kung talagang gagampanan ng senator judges yung tungkulin nila ng isa objective at impartial senator judge. Wala pong nakikita ko, walang basihan to even convict, because that's the word that's usually used in the impeachment proceeding, the Vice President on Article 4.
Opo. Attorney, siguro bilang panghuli na lamang po na i-transmit na po ng impeachment court clerk ang BIR box na ginawa ng kontrobersya kahapon at tinanggap ito sa opisina ng BIR commissioner mga 11:07 kahapon. Sa tingin niyo po, kailangan pa na magkaroon ng court order para makuha ulit ito, at kung sakali man, same box pa rin ba? Why not humingi na lang ng bago ba na mga datos, considering ang agam-agam ng iba, baka na-tamper na yan. Kasi bago napunta doon sa Senado, galing pa yan doon sa Kamara din po, attorney.
Actually, the question to ask them is the underlying reason why they want the tax records of the Vice President. If there is relevancy, if there is relevance in having to prove what you call unexplained wealth, what can only be proven in your tax record is whether you have paid the tax due on the income that you declare. So even assuming that you have unexplained wealth, hindi mo i-deklara yan sa iyong mga tax returns. So anong makikita mo doon na tinatawag na alleged unexplained wealth sa mga tax record na yan? At pangalawa, hindi po yan kasama sa mga ebidensya that was presented by the complainant who filed the impeachment complaint before the House of Representatives. Kaya nga maraming nagsasabi, observers as they are, na fishing expedition yung ginawa ng Justice Committee in the House in getting alleged additional evidence against the Vice President on the article of unexplained wealth. Pero balikan ko lang, ang makikita mo lang sa BIR record ay kung ano yung binayad mo na taxes based on the income that you declare. I'm pretty sure wala kang makitang unexplained wealth doon. Kasi nga, hindi, if ever there is, by anyone, and if I say this with all candor, by anyone, including those House prosecutors who filed the tax returns, may mga aligasyon na nakatanggap sila ng mga maleta-maleta, I don't think they will declare those money in their tax record. So, to me, it is not relevant insofar as the BIR tax record are concerned.
Opo. Attorney, si Jade po ito. Follow-up questions lamang po, attorney, tungkol po doon pa rin sa ikalawang araw po na impeachment trial. Kahapon po kasi, isa rin po sa mga naging highlight, yung mga dokumento na ino-object po ng depensa dahil hindi mga certified true copy daw, at ito yung mga photocopy lamang. At ang sabi nga ng prosecution, ito yung medyo nakaka-catch up sa atensyon ng ating mga kababayan, yung photocopy kinukonsidera ng original daw?
Meron silang ipinost na Supreme Court ruling that photocopy documents may be accepted in evidence. Pero may qualifier doon. Ibig sabihin, only if on the condition that there is no question as to the authenticity of the original. wala silang naipresenta na original, what is now the basis of the photocopy? Because as a general rule, in any proceeding, in any court proceeding po, a photocopy cannot be considered evidence. No? It may become an exception na tatanggapin yung photocopy so long as the existence and authenticity of the original is not in question. Eh yun, siguro mahaba ang debate dahil nga hindi natin na-lay ang tinatawag dyan laying the basis of whether the photocopy is based on a existing and authentic original document.
Opo. Ano hong masasabi po niyo at paano dapat tingnan po ng publiko yung patuloy pong pag-o-object? Ang dami pong objections ang ginawa ng depensa kahapon doon sa pagtatanong ng ginawa ng prosecution. Kabilang na nga dito sa mga dokumento. At yung sinasabi daw na misleading question, attorney?
Patungkol saan yung misleading? Hindi ko nakuha.
Mga misleading questions na tinatanong po ng prosecution doon sa kanilang testigo. Kaya nag-o-object po yung depensa.
Insofar, hindi ko lang nakuha yung konteksto as to what is the basis as to why that question is misleading or not. Ano. But I'd like to make reference to what you said about objections. Trabaho po ng abogado, both on the defense and the prosecution, to object if there is basis for objection on the matter of relevancy, admissibility, competency of the evidence. Trabaho po yan. Lalong-lalo na dito sa impeachment proceeding against VP Sara. Because hindi lang po yung mga senator judges na nakikinig. Hindi lang po yung mga abogado at mga partido ang nakikinig. Ang taong bayan po ang nakikinig. So it is best that all issues has to be ventilated. Issues that may be questionable has to be objected to. Para malaman ng taong bayan kung bakit nga pala nag-object. So yun po ang gusto nating malaman kung bakit kailangan mag-object. And that goes to both parties insofar as having to object on matters of evidence or on matters of procedure for that matter.
Opo. At maaari ho ba sa regular na korte yung mga opening statement, manifestation ng prosecution at patungkol sa mga kaso o mga artikulo po nga uusapan at tinining po, attorney? At tulad kahapon, yung depensa, umpisa pa lamang ng opening statement ng isang House prosecutor ay in-object na niya.
Actually, hindi po sanay or it's not normal in a court proceeding where a lawyer, before they present the evidence, would make what you call an opening statement. What they normally do is they what you call make an offer in evidence. Ibig sabihin, kung magpipresenta ka ng testigo, sasabihin mo sa korte, Your Honor, we are presenting this witness to offer in evidence the following. So, ito yung po sasabihin niya, and these are the things that we will, from this witness, prove the elements of the crime. So, yung po ang usually minamanifest ng isang abogado before the court before he presents a witness, but not what you call an opening statement.
Opo.
Kasi yung opening statement, tapos na po tayo dun sa first day. Di ba? Nag-opening statement yung prosecution,
yes,
at saka yung depensa. So tapos na po tayo doon, yung opening statement. So ngayon, presentation of evidence, what the lawyer presenting the witness would do is just make an offer of testimony. Ito po yung ititistigo ng testigo, if allowed to testify.
Opo. Which is, yun naman po ang binigyang diin ng presiding officer na lahat po yung mga naging opening statement o yung mga sinasabi, objection nag-manifest na ba yung prosecutors. Sinasabi naman o itinuturing na hindi naman po yung ebidensya. Dapat magbatay o dapat pakinggan o pagbasihan po ng publiko yung mga sinasabi ng testigo. Yun po dapat, attorney.
Tama po. Because that is the basis of the whole process of the impeachment proceeding is about evidence. Pero yung pabigat dyan, yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung pabigat dito is the fact na this is also a political process. So, yun po yung pabigat dyan sa prosesong ito. kung sa korte lang ito, wala yung pabigat na politika yan. Dito, hindi mo talaga mawala sa palaisipan ng taong bayan, lalong-lalo na the one on trial is an elective official. Tatanggalin mo yung 32 million votes na bumoto sa kanya. Yan po yung epekto nitong impeachment trial na ito. Kaya hindi talaga mawala yan sa palaisipan ng taong bayan, lalong-lalo na doon sa bumoto sa kanya. Notwithstanding the fact that what we're seeing now in the last 2 days and in the next 60 days, na ito po ay isang trial. Tama po, isang trial. Pero as you have said earlier, this is sui generis kasi kaibang trial po ito na nangyayari.
Opo. Huli na lang, attorney, nananawagan po si Senator Judge Tito Soto III sa impeachment trial ni Vice President Duterte na huwag daw masyadong technicalahin. Dahil napapansin kasi mga legal technicalities, huwag daw masyadong doon sa patakaran kasi mas interesado ang taong bayan, ang publiko, doon sa mismong paglilitis. Ano naman po ang reaksyon ninyo?
And then it affirms our observation that this is a political process. Kasi kung tutuusin, kung talagang seryoso sila sa trabaho nila as senator judges, they have to be well-informed about the technicalities, the procedure of how you're going to appreciate evidence. Huwag mo nang tingnan kung anong political party ka, kung kanino ka papanig. No? But the point is, kung papanig ka dun sa ebidensya, so kung anong, and when you talk about evidence, sinusuri pa yan. Kahit na may sasabihin yung testigo, pag yung ebidensya na sinabi niya o naipresenta by way of document, hindi ka tanggap-tanggap sa rules on evidence, hindi mo na iisipin yan. So let's have to work on what you call ground rules. You cannot do away with technical rules, especially on the rules on evidence. Kaya pag sabihin mo, let's do away with technicalities, with the rules, kasi ang gustong pakinggan ng taong bayan yung mga ebidensya, precisely the point. Okay? Kung tanggalin mo yung mga rules on evidence, mako-confirm yung palaisipan na it's all politics. Ayan ang mahirap doon. Nakukonfirma yung the fear that we have been thinking about for months now. And I hope that will not happen again. That the senator judges at this point in time will have to look at the evidence as they are. As they are. Hindi yung you're being swayed by your political affiliation.
Opo. Attorney, siguro yung huling mensahe po ninyo para sa ating mga kababayan, mga taga-suporta po ni VP Sara Duterte at lahat po na nakikinig, nanonood po sa mga oras na ito sa inyo.
Opo, I would call on to all Filipinos who have been monitoring the impeachment trial to monitor, to watch the trial, at more importantly, manunuri tayo. Let's be very discerning on what is happening before the Senate Impeachment Court. Mahimay-himay natin kung ano yung politika, mahimay-himay natin ano yung legal, mahimay-himay natin kung ano yung ebidensya na pwedeng tanggapin ng korte to consider whether there is ground for impeachment or not. There has been a lot of noise, if I may, no? A lot of observations as regards the trial. Pero I hope the Filipino people would be mapanuri. Because at the end of the day, alam natin na itong nangyayari na ito, no doubt, and I say no doubt, itong impeachment trial nito has a lot to do with the 2028 presidential and national election. We all know that. So, yun po ang panawagan ko na talagang mapanuri yung taong bayan sa pagsusunod o who have been closely watching the impeachment trial.
Alright. Attorney, thank you po sa inyong pong oras at sa pagbibigay po ninyo ng impormasyon ngayong umaga. Sa ulitin po, good morning po sa inyo.
Salamat din po sa pagkakataon.
Ayan po mga
Magandang umaga.
Yan po mga kababayan, si Attorney Martin Delga III ang ating pong nakasama, napakinggan po ngayong umaga.